Hey guys, it's Noah here from Audiocube, and this video is a full-length tutorial showing you as many of the features and devices and workflows that I can. It might be a little bit disorganized, so I would recommend you check out the 1-minute video and the 5-minute video on our channel, YouTube channel, as well as heading to the user manual, which is just click learn on the website. And here you'll find individual videos and tutorials for each device and process in Audiocube. So these will go in a bit more detail for each topic than I'm going to show you today. So first things first, you have the sign in screen. Just enter your email address. If you have a free account, you don't need to enter your license key, but if you have paid, just enter your license key in here and click remember me. That way you won't need to enter it every time. Then click sign in, go to open, and then the first thing that we're going to see is the project screen. This just shows you all of your saved projects. Just click one to load. You also have the templates, but we're just going to start by creating a blank project. So this is the main app screen. For starters, I'm just going to give you a quick demo of how to move around, and you'll be able to hear the audio spatialization. So just for the camera, you can use W, A, S, and D, or the arrow keys. And then you can use Q and E to rotate. And then R and F to scroll. Or you can use the mouse wheel, which is probably a bit easier. You can also just click and drag the floor and you'll be able to move yourself around. Or use right click for a bit more control. To move devices, just click on the device and you can move it. Obviously you can't get stuck on the UI like that, but if you hold Alt or Option, you can do it more, it sort of mirrors where your mouse is. So before looking at all the features, first we're just going to enable the binauralization, which just sounds a lot better on headphones, and we're going to enable these, which you will see later, but let's just ignore that for now. So the first thing to look at is this top floating bar. This is where you can access all of the main windows and features. You can move it with this little tab. First we have the add device tab, where you can just click and drag to create various devices, which I will explain later. And then you can just hold Shift and drag to select them all, and then we're just going to go right click, delete all. The next thing is the browser. Then we have I'll explain each of these in detail. So the browser is how you import your audio files. The editor is where you edit your various devices that you've created. Clicking on a device will automatically switch to that editor window, but you also have the tabs down here. You also have this list view where you can manually trigger and stop devices, delete them or jump at them to look. Like so, you can just jump between them, which is handy. Next we have the mixer, which gives you some effects. I'll explain all of these in more detail, just giving you a quick overview. The timeline, which helps you play stuff where it should. The output recorder, where you can just record the output of Audiocube. You have the master volume, and then just click stop recording. You also have the master stop here that stops every active device. And just click export files and you will find your recorded WAVs in the folder. Master volume, camera controls, which I've shown you already. And then the settings window, which is where you have controls for the UI scaling. You can change the font, And there's a bunch of other options in here for resetting stuff. But yeah, don't need to, and just you can just save your settings here and then load them or reset to default. We also have the audio range editor mode, where let's just demonstrate. So in this mode you can't move devices, but instead you can change the minimum and maximum range, but we'll also just change this here. Which just sets how far sounds are spatialized. But yeah, that's more advanced, so we don't need to learn that for now. So let's start to look at things in more detail. So let's start with the browser. Here you have your files, just click import. You can just drag and drop any WAV file or folder. I will add more file types soon. MP3s and other things won't work for the minute, but in the next update they will. It's already working in the beta version. When you import samples, they will just automatically appear. We also have the sample pack downloader. Just click download and then you can just install a sample pack and you will then see them appear here. I'm going to add more of these at some point too. You can preview by clicking. You can loop and there's a preview volume, and then when you find a sound that you like, just drag it in. I'm just going to delete this one. So that's the basics of the browser. I've streamlined it from the old version. Oh, you can also like skip through. So that's the basics of the browser. Of course, you can scale it up. Device editor. We've already had a brief look. You have various tabs for each device, which can be opened and closed. Each device has its own unique controls. So I'll show you some of this. Yeah, check out the full videos for each device because I won't go in full detail now. But yeah, if you want to change a sample that's already loaded in, you can just drag and drop it across like this. You can change the sample start and end time, etc. Samplers have effects on them. Etc. I mean, yeah, it's just a bit of fun to play with. So that's the basics of the sampler and the editor window. Emitters are physics-based devices where rather than being like a traditional sampler, let's just load in a cool sound for this. So each time the node hits something, it triggers a sound, and you can select a bunch of random pitches for it to pick. These are on channel 7 by default. Obviously, you probably don't want to have to be constantly hitting the space bar to trigger these. So what we're going to do is use one of the other main devices, which is a ticker. Just going to create this. And then with these, you just hold Control and it will connect, and then click on a device to connect it. And then you just press space, and you can see here it has a timer. So each time it reaches a timer, it will send out a new pulse. These can be attached to any kind of device. So you'll notice that we are using the camera as the listening position. You can switch it to the microphone just by double clicking it, and now this is the listening position. So you'll see that wherever the camera is, it doesn't affect anything, and that's because it's now listening through the microphone. Stop this, but let's jump back to the main camera. So yeah, that's the basics of tickers. I mean, the logic sequencing I'm going to make a whole new video on, just to explain how you can do generative sequencing and stuff. Let's have a look at the mixer. So the mixer has 8 channels, which are groups. Each audio device has a channel output selector, so you just click on the device and then find the mix channel, and here you can just select which channel it comes through. So let's put this one on channel 1. Yeah, and emitters default to channel 7, but of course you can just change it. So there's also the device mixer, which gives you an independent control for each device. So you can see we can turn down that emitter. You can also clone devices from here and delete them. It's kind of similar to this list control, but with a volume control. So yeah, these channels get routed into the main group. So let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. So you have your EQ. You can just double click to reset values. You then have the 4 send effects. So these get sent through to this 4 sends. And then if you just click on these buttons, you can edit the value for each effect. And we also have the mastering controls. So this is a bunch of mastering effects that all the sounds get sent through. You have a coloration, you have a reverb. Compressor. And an EQ, which is fully parametric. So that's the mixer explained. Next, yeah, the timeline. So what you're going to want to do is work out the length to have the loop, and we're going to go. We can see that it's 5652. Just set the length. Oh, that's 5,000. And then you can set subdivision. And this is just very basic, just showing you how it works. It's not really ideal for making complex beats, but you can skim through. And if you hold control, it will snap. You can also automate the position of sounds. If you click play and then click record, you can then grab sounds and move them around, and then uncheck record. And you can get like nice movement. So yeah, that's the timeline. Now let's have a look at the sound walls, which are one of the main ways that the whole acoustic simulation works. So you have handles here for just changing their dimensions, and you can rotate them. You're going to want to make sure that you have all of these enabled, and then let's make a couple so you can hear how the reflections work. So obviously the sound is coming off of these and bouncing off this wall. I mean, yeah, if you have headphones on, you'll be able to get the best sense of this. So you can control the dry and reflections. So it's cool because you can make like full rooms and stuff. And also it's occlusion, so it's blocking out the sounds, and obviously this is like a virtual environment, so there's no other walls for it to reflect off. So it's kind of like an anechoic chamber, so you need to kind of create the boundaries. And what you can do is visualize how the audio propagation is being simulated, and you can just see. So obviously here, there's no blue lines hitting us. And all of this gets recorded in through the recorder, as I showed you. So and then yeah, if you click stop here, it's going to stop everything, and then stop recording. The master stop just stops all the active devices in the scene, and then click export files, and it'll be this one. Okay, if you click recordings down here, you can also listen back to your recordings and just re-import them. So it's good for resampling and stuff. You can multi-select stuff with shift, and then you'll be able to move it all at once or delete it all, like so. Let's go ahead and save. Well, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to save a project, I'd just delete everything. So you just click save, and then you'll see that it successfully saves. And then we can go ahead and open. Yeah, so this would be it. Obviously we had nothing in the save. So new features, if you click on this saves button, you can actually directly import your project. So it kind of acts as a preset system rather than having to reload every project. You can just import parts as presets. So if you save like little elements, you can then import them in. Okay, so let's have a look at cool sequencing stuff. So we're going to go add device. We're going to go logic. We're going to get a ticker, which is like the engine. Logics are kind of like conditional sequencing gates. So we're going to create 4 of these. And then we're going to create some, create a snare. Let's create some one of these and one of these. So connect these, and then when you're on a logic box, you just double click to enable connection mode, and then click back to disenable it, and then connect this to this, and then this to this, and then this one here, so you can get. So if you just click play, it's just going to do that every time. But if we turn these to, open the editor, and if we convert these to chain types, they will now have a slight delay. You know. I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit. Yeah, I probably should have rehearsed this tutorial a little bit, but I mean, you get the idea. So we also have a split type. So what's going to happen is it's going to randomly pick one of any of the connected devices. And you can kind of connect these however you want and just create some really crazy conditional sequences. I mean, I'm going to make a full video on all this generative stuff. Another thing to show you is the effect zone. So on these you can pick some effects. So let's go reverb. And then any device that's inside the effect zone is going to be processed. You'll see the blue lines showing that it's connected. Okay, and one thing, if you're editing and you kind of want a bit of a more overhead view, I would recommend clicking this to go into the orthogonal 2D mode. If you hold Alt, you can get a bit of an orbit and you can zoom in and out. And you can also go visual and you can hide different elements just to make it a bit easier. We have a bunch of different themes. This one's quite cool. Light theme Oof. And you might think, oh, when you're editing stuff, you don't really want the spatialization, so you can actually go turn distance off, and now the distance of the camera has no effect. So it can be quite handy just for getting more of a flat perception. There's also the overload protection, which is a handy feature that will prevent your computer from exploding. So if we crank up the time, this might completely make a mess of the video recording. Yeah, you can see when it reaches it prevents it from getting too low frames per second. But yeah, I mean, the Audiocube's all about experimentation and doing things that you can't do in traditional DAWs. So I really just recommend experimenting with it. Check out the user manual, which I showed you online, because it explains all the devices in full. The interface might look a bit different because I've recently released a new update, but you should be able to get the hang of it in general. Yeah, so I think that covers it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me just with the contact. All the help and stuff is linked up here. Yeah, feel free to email me, check out the video tutorials on the YouTube channel, and enjoy exploring Audiocube, and welcome to hearing new feature suggestions. Love getting feedback, love hearing from you guys. Yeah, let's just crash it, okay. Alright. Yeah, master stop. That's your panic button. Alright guys, I will see you soon.